Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me loud and clear today. You have 24 hours in a day, just like Oprah, just like Elon Musk, just like the late, great Steve Jobs, just like the legends, the builders, the dreamers, the doers. You have the same 24 hours. And the question I came to ask you today is this. What's your excuse? You say you don't have time. You say you're tired. You say it's hard. Let me tell you something, life is hard. But guess what? So is staying broke. So is living with regret. So is watching your dream die slowly because you chose comfort over commitment. See, when I was sleeping on the floor of my office, broken, I had 24 hours. When I got rejected over and over on radio stations, I still had 24 hours. And I made a decision. I said no more excuses. I'm going to use every hour like it's my last, because one day it will be. You don't need more time, you need a reason. You need a why that burns so deeply it won't let you sleep. And if you've got breath in your body, if you can hear my voice, then you still have time left to turn it all around. So I ask you again, you have 24 hours in a day. What's your excuse? Every single day you wake up, you are given something so powerful, so precious, and so often wasted time. Not just any time, but 24 golden hours that can shape your future, change your circumstances, and elevate your life. The same 24 hours that were given to the most successful people who ever walked this earth, they're given to you too. But the question is, what are you doing with it? See, your time is your most valuable currency, more than money, more than resources, more than opportunities, because once it's gone, it's gone. You can't rewind it. You can't save it for later. You can't borrow from tomorrow. You have to use it wisely and intentionally right now. You know, when people say, I don't have time, what they're really saying is, it's not a priority. Because if something is important enough, you will find time for it. You'll wake up earlier, you'll cut distractions, you'll reorganize your schedule, you'll say no to things that don't move you forward so you can say yes to what matters. Your dreams require that level of dedication. Your goals demand that kind of commitment. You can't afford to keep giving your time away to things and people that don't align with your destiny. You were not born to just survive the day. You were born to use the day, to build with it, to invest it in becoming more than you were yesterday. Time is always moving, and it does not wait. The clock is always ticking, whether you're acting or procrastinating, whether you're building or hesitating, whether you're grinding or scrolling endlessly through distractions. Every hour you spend is like swiping your most powerful credit card, and the return you get depends on what you're spending it on. Are you investing your time in things that grow you, that educate you, that stretch you, that prepare you for the life you say you want? Or are you spending hours on autopilot, living the same day over and over, calling it a life? And let me tell you something, it's not about doing everything in one day. It's about doing the right things every day. It's about waking up with a plan, waking up with intention, waking up with a mindset that says, I own this day, I command my hours, I choose how this time will serve my future. Because if you don't take control of your day will control you. Life will fill your time with noise, with problems, with emergencies that aren't even yours. But when you recognize that your time is your most valuable currency, you stop letting people spend it for you. You've got to protect your time like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't get to live this day again. You don't get to relive this moment. You don't get to redo this hour. What you do right now echoes through your future. So if you spend today wasting it, you're robbing your future self of progress, of peace, of success that could have been. That's why every decision matters. Every moment counts. Every hour is a brick in the foundation of the life you're building. I need you to stop acting like time is something you'll always have, because one day you won't. One day you won't get a tomorrow. One day your 24 hours will be up, And when that moment comes, you won't be thinking about your excuses. You'll be thinking about your potential, the time you had, the opportunities you missed, the hours you let slip through your fingers like sand. You'll remember the moments when you could have pushed forward, when you should have acted, when you knew what needed to be done but you didn't do it. There's power in urgency. There's power in treating every day like it matters, because it does. It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. It's not about doing 1,000 things. It's about doing the few things that actually move your life forward. Your calendar should reflect your calling. Your schedule should reflect your standards. Your routine should reflect your dreams. Because the truth is, how you spend your time is how you're building your life. And you can't build a strong, meaningful, extraordinary life if your time is spent on things that don't align with the greatness inside you. Time is the most equal resource on the planet. It doesn't care where you come from, what you have, what you've been through. Everyone gets 24 hours. What separates the winners from the warriors, the successful from the stuck, the dreamers from the doers, is how they use those hours. Are you using yours to grow, to learn, to prepare, to push, or are you using them to hide, to doubt, to delay, to repeat the same cycle of hesitation and fear? Excuses are easy. They're comfortable. They're familiar. They give us an out, a way to explain away our inaction, our hesitation, our delay. But let's be honest, excuses are lies. Lies we tell ourselves to justify why we haven't done what we know we're capable of doing. They make us feel better in the moment, but they steal from us in the long run. Every time you say, "I can't because," or "I would but," or "I'm not ready yet," you're not just avoiding a task, you're avoiding your growth. You're turning away from the very thing that could transform your life. Let's call it what it is. Excuses are fear wearing a disguise. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success, fear of the unknown, and instead of facing that fear, we dress it up in words that sound rational. We blame our schedule, our background, our parents, our job, our kids, our age, the economy, our lack of support. We point the finger everywhere but inward, because deep down we know the truth. We know that we're capable of more. We know we were born for more, but admitting that means we have to do something about it. And that's where the resistance kicks in. You see, greatness doesn't come with a permission slip. It doesn't wait for everything to be perfect. And it certainly doesn't make room for excuses. Every person who has ever achieved anything significant had reasons to quit. They had doubts, obstacles, setbacks, but they chose to push through anyway. They chose to take action instead of making excuses, because when your why is strong enough, your excuses won't be. Excuses are seductive. They whisper to you that you have time, that you'll start tomorrow, that next week will be better. They tell you to play it safe, to stay where it's comfortable, to wait for the right moment. But let me ask you, when is that perfect moment ever going to come? Life doesn't give you ideal conditions. It gives you raw material. It gives you struggle, inconvenience, adversity, and then asks, what will you do with this? The people who win are the ones who say, even if it's not ideal, I'm showing up. Even if it's hard, I'm still moving forward. You can't build a strong, disciplined, purpose-driven life on a foundation of excuses, because every excuse chips away at your confidence. It weakens your resolve. It convinces you that average is acceptable and mediocrity is enough. But I'm here to tell you, it's not enough. You weren't made to live halfway. You weren't born to sit on the sidelines of your own life. There's something powerful inside you, but it can't come alive until you stop protecting your limitations. And yes, you may have been through things that weren't your fault. You may have started with less than others. You may have real challenges, but that doesn't give you permission to stay stuck. It gives you a responsibility to rise, to rewrite your story, to defy the odds. Excuses might explain your past, but they should never define your future. You know what excuses really do. They keep your dream in the future. Someday, one day, maybe. But someday is not a day of the week, one day is not guaranteed, and maybe is the language of people who never make it. If your dream matters to you, you can't keep feeding it with maybe. You've got to start saying, I will. You've got to start saying now. You've got to start acting like you believe your life is worth fighting for. When you kill your excuses, you awaken your power, because now there's no one left to blame. Now it's on you. Now you're free to create, to build, to rise, to lead. Excuses keep you in bondage. They trap you in a small version of yourself. But responsibility, that's where your freedom lies. That's where your power begins. That's where your future opens up and your real potential comes alive. We've got to stop treating excuses like they're truth. They're not facts. They're stories, and the good news is you can rewrite your story anytime you choose. You can stop saying I can't and start saying how can I. You can stop saying it's too late and start saying this is my moment. You can stop saying I don't know how and start saying I'm willing to learn. It all begins with honesty, brutal, fearless honesty. Look yourself in the mirror and ask, is this really the truth? Or is this just something I've told myself so I don't have to change? Because the moment you stop lying to yourself is the moment you take your power back. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop running, stop hiding, and stop making motivation can get you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going. Motivation is a spark, a feeling, an emotional surge that might show up today and vanish tomorrow. But discipline is the engine. Discipline is what keeps you moving when your feelings fade, when it's hard, when nobody is watching, and when you don't feel like doing anything at all. It's not about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's necessary. And when you understand that, you stop depending on how you feel and start depending on your commitment. We live in a world obsessed with motivation. People are chasing that next hit of inspiration like it's some kind of fuel. They want the perfect podcast, the perfect quote, the perfect video to make them feel good enough to start. But what happens when the feeling fades? What happens when it's cold outside, you're tired, and life isn't going your way? That's when discipline steps in. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel, I made a decision. Discipline is the muscle you build by doing the hard thing repeatedly, not because it's exciting, but because it's necessary for your growth, your goals, your destiny. You want results. You want progress. Then you've got to show up consistently, not occasionally. You don't get to your dreams by working on them only when you feel inspired. You get there by showing up when it's boring, when it's painful, when it's uncomfortable. The greatest achievers didn't make it because they were the most motivated. They made it because they were the most disciplined. They created routines. They honored their schedules. They committed to their plans even when the results weren't instant. Discipline is what turns potential into power. Everybody's got potential, but potential without discipline is wasted energy. You can be talented, gifted, brilliant, but if you don't have discipline, you'll never tap into the full measure of what's inside you. Discipline keeps you focused. It helps you say no to distractions. It forces you to confront your laziness, your procrastination, and your self-sabotage. It's not punishment. It's the path to freedom. Because when you're disciplined, you're not controlled by your circumstances. You're in control of yourself. There's something liberating about discipline. It teaches you to master your mornings, to own your routines, to guard your time, to follow through on your word. When you say, I will do this, and you actually do it, something shifts in your identity. You start trusting yourself. You build integrity with yourself. And that internal integrity becomes your foundation for everything else in life. That's how confidence is born. Not from talking big, but from following through on the small daily disciplines. And yes, discipline is hard. It's supposed to be, But so is staying in the same place year after year. So is knowing you could be more, but you're not. So is watching someone else live your dream because they were willing to do the work when you weren't. You've got to choose your hard. Do you want the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Because either way, there's a cost, but only one of them leads to growth, freedom, and the life you've been praying for. When you decide to live with discipline, your 24 hours start working for you. You stop wasting time. You stop making decisions based on mood. You start thinking long term. You start stacking wins. And those small, consistent wins become momentum. Momentum becomes movement. Movement becomes transformation. And transformation becomes legacy. That's the power of daily discipline. It compounds over time. The results don't show up overnight, but when they do, they show up big. Look at anyone who's built something extraordinary. A business, a body, a skill, a life. And you'll see discipline at the core. They weren't always the smartest, they weren't always the most talented, but they were consistent. They put in the reps. They did what needed to be done day after day, whether they felt like it or not. That's what separates the winners from the wishers. Discipline is the separator. It's what builds habits, and habits shape your future. Discipline is doing the things that matter, even when they are not fun. It's getting up early when your bed feels warm. It's saying no to temptation when it would be easier to say yes. It's sticking to your plan when distractions are calling your name, and the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Just like a muscle, every time you act with discipline, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through, who finishes what they start, who honors their vision over their feelings. You become a builder, not just a dreamer. A finisher, not just a starter. A person of action, not just of intention. That is the power of discipline, and that's how you turn your limited 24 hours into unstoppable forward motion toward your greatest life. So now the question stands in front of you like a mirror. You have 24 hours in a day. What's your excuse? You've got the same amount of time as the greats, the same daily gift that built empires, healed generations, changed the course of history, and you don't need to wait for another opportunity, another perfect moment, or someone to come save you. The time is now. The power is yours. The excuses, they've expired. Every second counts. Every hour is a seed. And every day is a chance to grow, to show up, to do what you said you would do. The clock won't stop. The world won't wait, but neither should you. It's not about having more time. It's about owning the time you've been given. It's about trading your excuses for execution, your comfort for commitment, your distractions for discipline. Because the difference between average and extraordinary isn't talent, isn't luck, it's how you use your 24 hours. So wake up, lock in, go all in, stop running from your greatness. The world doesn't need your excuses, it needs your fire, your fight, your faith, your relentless pursuit of purpose. You were not born to be ordinary. You were born to rise, to lead, to build, to leave a mark. No more delays, no more stories, no more blame. It's time to decide. It's time to act. It's time to live like your time matters, because it does. You have 24 hours in a day. Use them like your life depends on it, because it absolutely does.